Me and Dr. Moses Powell have, even though he's transitioned. When we're together in this type of setting, I would hold him in very high regard. And as a student, I would wait for the lessons to come to me. He would always pull the strings and try to get me to, like, what do you want to know? What do you want to do, blah, blah. And I would, he always gave up so much. My cup was always full around him. And which is because I would study his everyday movement, not just his mat work.
It's about Sanuces through. And that is what Dr. Moses Powell was about. See, you have to understand, when Dr. Moses Powell put whatever he put together, which we know is Sanuces through, he didn't just go off and do it. He went and presented to his teacher, Grand Professor Visitation, and he had the permission of his teacher. Now, other people went off and did things without Doc's approval. So this is where you have the conflict coming in. With me, I'm concerned about Dr. Moses Powell and promoting Sanuces religious, because there's so much to learn from that. I don't have time to really delve into any other things. I still got to perfect myself in Sanuces root, mastering the techniques. And I got a long way to go. This system is so vast, for me to say, okay, I got it all, and now I can move on and put my own thing together. No, I don't think so.
Right now, where I'm at, and watching a legend like Dr. Moses Powell, the late Dr. Moses Powell, his boundaries, I was told, because I wasn't there, that he actually set up a school down the block from Grand Professor V. That's just insane, and especially around the time that it was done. And I'm not saying insane in the sense that wrong, but it was unheard of. And he pushed the boundaries so far. He allowed me to see from, in promoting me from green to black, that black belt, it's an idea. It's an idea, and it's how you digest it and what you come back with.
So he wanted his students to be known. He wanted his students to get recognition. So most of the masters in his tapes, no matter where they go in the martial arts world, they're recognized as masters in Sanuces root, because Moses Powell was not a selfish man. He was the type of man who put his students out front so they would be recognized and respected and could also make a living. So with that, that's the best example. Do unto others as you have them do unto you.
Well, the martial arts for me is it's a discipline, and in any discipline, be it music, be it art, dance, weightlifting, you name it. There are levels in your discipline whereby that you will reach some sort of consciousness, some sort of awareness from being so deep into your craft. And what the art has done for me, it teaches you to dig deep into yourself and find parts of you that wouldn't normally surface. The martial arts has really been my tool to connect to that godly consciousness, to connect with the Creator.
Dr. Moses Powell produced 5 Sanuces root videotapes. He could have picked one uke and did all 5 of those techniques, or tapes, pardon me. He could have done all the Sanuces root techniques on one uke and showed the world Sanuces root jiu-jitsu. But what he was about was showcasing the ability of his students. He wanted his students to be seen around the world so he could show the world that it's not just about him. He has passed it on.
We never really looked at Osei as if he was anything else but family. You know, being raised with Doc, being raised under Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad, being raised with Bill. So again, like a family, we all had a chance to be involved with him.
But I recognize the fact that Doc allowed him to be called Soki because he was already Soki when he came in. Professor Osei is a phenomenon. That's all you have to say. I'm gonna say what Dr. Moses Powell said about him. That man is a phenomenon. My admiration for him. I mean, I actually trained with him on the floor of Vanderbilt. And
Osei Kenyatta Jones is very, very special to us. We don't know what a gem that we have of a true disciple of Dr. Moses Powell Sanuces. Osei's spirit galvanized everything and tried to incorporate everything that was left for us to continue.
I'll sum it up real quick. Osei's my friend. I love him. He's my brother. And I'll do anything to help him. I'll give you this from Dr. Moses Powell. He looked at Osei one day and he said, the young man is a phenomenon. That's all I have to say. And I agree.
I know him pretty well now. He's refining himself and cultivating himself in a constant manner now. He has achieved a state I call the teacher within. He knows how to tap into his inner self.
Dr. Powell made a statement about Osei in tape number 4. Osei is working and he makes the statement, this is a phenomenal. He called him a phenomenal young man, phenomenal martial artist, even at that young age. And I think it's taken a little time for Osei to grow into the fact of his true talents, which he is an excellent martial artist. I mean, he is talented beyond belief.
But one thing, the distinctive things I remember about Osei is that he is like an instant video camera before video cameras are out. He carried this loose leaf book around. He actually tried to write down every technique that he ever learned, and I guess maybe he had his own encrypted version of it because nobody else could understand it but him. But he can read it back as if we just did it yesterday. And I believe maybe he still has that book, but I distinctly remember that because, you know, being younger, he was the go-to guy. And to say, what was that again? And you know, he'd bring it back up and be happy to do it.
Osei was promoted from white to green, from green to black.
He's like a prodigy. Even from the beginning, when he was a green belt, and suddenly was a black belt. And what I liked about him, he wanted to refuse it. And Doc would not do it.
You know, he doesn't get the full credit that he deserves. But it's coming. You know, people recognize it, people are coming around. And really, me personally, I like to enjoy him more as professor will say, oh wow, before he heads off to, you know, becoming Soki in his own system. I like, because there's so much that he has to offer that Dr. Moses Powell gave him, you know, as, you know, Professor O said.
The doc actually did take him under his wing and make sure that a lot of things were entrusted to him as well. Knowing and understand that say would transcend it and take it where it belongs. So, you know, I have a lot of respect for him and what he's done and what he's still doing. He has a lot of ability and, as Doc would say, potential.
Like I used to say about Dr. Powell, that he was a cornucopia of martial arts. He had no beginning, he had no end. Jose almost fits into that vernacular. I mean, he is, let's put it this way, I've seen seniors of his that he is on their level in terms of the physicality and dealing with the martial arts. Now, the spiritual part he still has to grow into, and which I'm quite sure he will.
You can't do that without spirit, breath. You gotta have self-control.
Dr. Powell saw something in Osei that many others didn't. Now, people really don't know, but Doc promoted him.
Yes, true story.
Dr. Powell promoted him.
Dr. Powell promoted Jose from green belt to Shodan.
I knew him back when Doc was training him special. Doc told me, he said, this guy's my twin. I said, what do you mean by that? He says, watch him closely. And I watched him. And he moved just like Doc, laughed like, had the same kind of sense of humor.
I'm a historian, and just personally, I know for a fact that he caught so much flack over the years, but no one can touch his ability. No one can ever question his ability. Doc didn't think of short term, he thought long term. And this is where we at today with this man we know as Osei Kenyatta Jones.
This is all God-given. This is God-given. This isn't something that you had to work at. This was something that just came to him. You know, as say, Shodan or Nidan, you could see the development in him. You know, this is why when I witness him teach now, I can see the improvement and the development from when he was, say, 5 years ago. And it's a constant improvement. You know, I'm quite sure that there's no, I don't know what his parameters are in terms of being a martial artist.
You know, I heard someone say just now that, you know, they call him his twin. You pretty much groom, or say it's like, you know, you have a garden and you're growing flowers and vegetables and things of that nature, and you cultivate. And it's kind of like what the doc was doing with Osei. He was cultivating him into what he is now. When you see him train, or when you see him demonstrate techniques, it takes me back to the back in the days. It takes me back to when worlds collide. It takes me back to a lot of that when I see him, because you know when you see that, you see Doc.
He's a guy that, you know, you saw how they trained at When Worlds Collide. It was intense training, and to see everybody go from, you know, the different rank structure on up, to see him jump from white to green and then to black was, yeah, a powerful inspiration.
One of my fondest memory is that we had a gate in front of the house, and Osei would never walk through the gate. He would always jump over the gate. And I always thought that he always had all that energy to share, and he has been sharing it ever since. I think that he has grown up to be a very humble young man, a very talented young man, and his growth in the martial arts he has grown over the years, and he has excelled in what he does, and I'm very proud of him.
I think they all go hand in hand. He's turned out to be a fine young man. I've had my doubts about his path, but I've been impressed with the fact that he has walked a straight path.
Corey is the image of his father. If you look at Corey now, you see Osei when he was a young toddler.
Most of what I can think of is my brother doing martial arts. Before martial arts, it was gymnastics, but it was still a form of an art. And I think